The distress signal wasn't meant for us. That was the first thing Captain Idris said when it came through, faint, fragmented, buried beneath layers of radiation interference. We were hauling salvage from the dead edges of the Perseus Drift, a graveyard of shattered fleets and forgotten wars, when the signal flickered onto our screens like a dying heartbeat. Probably an echo, Idris muttered, leaning back in his chair. Or bait. Or someone still alive out there, I replied. He gave me a look, the kind that said I hadn't been in deep space long enough to know better. Maybe he was right. Out here, hope got you killed faster than vacuum. But I couldn't ignore it. The signal repeated every 17 seconds. Same pattern. Same distortion. Same desperate persistence. Someone or something was trying to be found. We tracked it to a drifting wreck half buried in an asteroid cluster. It wasn't human. Not even close. The hull curved like bone, layered with organic ridges that seemed grown rather than built. Fractures spiderwebbed across its surface, venting faint trails of frozen atmosphere into space. Xenotech, whispered Malik from the scanner station. Definitely not cataloged. Idris exhaled slowly. That makes it worse. It should have been enough to turn us around. But then the signal sharpened. Not clearer, but louder. As if it knew we were there. I volunteered for the boarding team before Idris could assign anyone else. You don't even know what you're walking into, he said. That's why I'm going, I replied. If someone's alive, they've been waiting a long time. He hesitated, then nodded once. 15 minutes. If you're not back, we leave. Fair. Out here, survival always had a timer. The airlock hissed as I crossed into the alien vessel. My suit lights flickered against walls that pulsed faintly, like veins beneath translucent skin. The structure wasn't entirely dead. It was lingering. Alive, in a way I didn't understand. The distress signal grew stronger as I moved deeper, guiding me through corridors warped by impact and time. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably, tugging at my boots one moment, releasing me the next. Reading a localized power source ahead, Malik's voice crackled over comms. Faint, but stable. On my way. The passage narrowed into a chamber shaped like a hollow sphere. At its center stood something upright, something tall, armored and utterly still. My breath caught. A figure, encased in a suit unlike anything I'd ever seen. It wasn't metal, not exactly. The surface flowed like liquid crystal, shifting subtly with internal light. Its design was sleek and predatory, built for something stronger, faster, and far more dangerous than human. And it was cracked. Fractures ran across the chest and limbs, glowing faintly with leaking energy. The helmet was sealed, opaque, revealing nothing inside. But the signal, it was coming from her. I found the source, I said quietly. It's to being. Still upright. Suits active, barely. Alive. Idris asked. I don't know. I stepped closer. The suit reacted instantly. A pulse of light rippled across its surface, and I staggered back as a low-frequency hum filled the chamber. Not sound, something deeper. Something that vibrated through my bones. Warning. Defense system. Easy, I murmured, raising my hands. I'm not here to hurt you. The suit dimmed slightly but didn't power down. It was guarding her. Or maybe trapping her. I circled slowly, scanning for an access point. The suit had no obvious seams, no visible controls. It looked grown around the body, fused to it. Then I noticed the crack near the shoulder. It wasn't just damage. It was a breach. Through it, I could see something, faint movement, like shadow beneath translucent glass. She was inside, and she was alive. Idris, I said, voice tight. The suit's malfunctioning. It's locked her in. Can you get her out? I don't know. There's no interface. Then don't touch it, he snapped. We don't know what it'll do. I looked at the figure again. She hadn't moved. But the signal, now I understood it. It wasn't just a distress beacon. It was a plea. I stepped forward again. This time, slower. Careful. The suit pulsed again, but weaker. Not aggressive. Strained. Hey, I said softly. Can you hear me? No response. Of course not. Different species. Different biology. Different everything. But maybe not entirely. I placed my gloved hand gently against the cracked section. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the universe changed. A surge of sensation flooded my mind. Not images, not exactly, but impressions. Pain. Isolation. Time stretching endlessly. Systems failing. Power draining. Consciousness flickering. And beneath it all, fear. Not the wild panic of a creature about to die, but the quiet, crushing weight of someone who had been alone for far too long. I gasped, stumbling back as the connection snapped. What happened? Malik asked. I think I made contact. Contact how? I touched the suit. There was a long pause. Of course you did, Idris muttered. My heart pounded as I stared at her. She's alive, I said. Barely. The suit's keeping her that way, but it's also trapping her. Then it's life support, Idris replied. You pull her out, she might die. She'll die if I don't, I said. Silence. Then, you have 5 minutes. I moved closer again, this time with purpose. The crack pulsed faintly, reacting to my presence. Okay, I whispered. Let's try this again. I pressed my hand against it. The connection returned instantly. Stronger. Clearer. This time, there were images. A battlefield among stars. Ships like hers, sleek, organic, clashing against angular mechanical enemies. Explosions blooming in silent fury. Commands shouted in a language I didn't understand but felt. Authority. Leadership. She wasn't just a soldier. She was a commander. Then came the moment. A catastrophic hit. The ship tearing apart. Systems failing. Emergency protocols activating. The suit sealing. Locking. Protecting. Trapping. And then nothing. Endless drifting. Endless waiting. I pulled back, breath shaking. I know what happened, I said. The suit sealed her in after the crash. It's been sustaining her ever since, but it's broken. It can't release her. Then we don't mess with it, Idris said firmly. We're not equipped for alien surgery. I looked at the crack again, at the faint movement within. She's been in there for years, I said. Maybe decades. That's not our problem. It is now. I didn't wait for permission. The suit responded the moment I touched it again, but differently this time. The light shifted, forming patterns that pulsed beneath my hand. Communication. It was trying. I can help, I said, focusing on the connection. But you have to let me. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a response. Not words. Permission. The crack widened slightly. Not physically, but energetically. The barrier thinned, reacting to my touch. I understood then. The suit wasn't just a machine. It was linked to her. And now to me. Malik, I said quickly, I need you to monitor energy output. If it spikes, pull me out. You're not seriously. Just do it. I pressed both hands against the suit and let it in. The connection became overwhelming. Her consciousness flooded mine, memories, emotions, fragments of a life I couldn't fully comprehend. Her species, her people, her purpose. And her will. Strong. Unyielding. She had survived this long through sheer force of it. But she couldn't do it alone anymore. I focused on the suit, on its systems. They weren't mechanical in any way I recognized, but they had structure, logic,
flow.
I could feel where it was failing, where it was locked, where it needed a command. Open, I whispered. Nothing happened. Not like that. I reached deeper, aligning my thoughts with hers. Not forcing, joining. And, together, we pushed. The suit reacted violently. Light flared across its surface as energy surged through its fractured systems. Alarms, silent but intense, echoed through the connection. Energy spike. Malik shouted, "Whatever you're doing, stop." "I'm close," I gasped. The crack widened, this time physically. A seam forming where none existed before. Pain exploded through the link. Hers, not mine. The suit resisting, trying to maintain integrity. Trying to protect her. "It's okay," I said. "You don't need it anymore." One final push. The suit split open. The chamber fell silent. She collapsed forward. I caught her. She was lighter than I expected and warmer. Her body was sleek, her skin a pale, iridescent tone that shimmered faintly in the dim light. She had no helmet now, no barrier between us. Her eyes opened. They were nothing like human eyes. Luminous,
deep,
ancient, and focused entirely on me. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Two beings from different worlds, connected by something neither of us fully understood. Then she spoke. Not with words, but I understood her anyway. "You reached." I swallowed.
"Yeah."
A faint shift, something like relief, passed through her expression. I waited. "I know." Behind us, the suit flickered and died, its purpose finally fulfilled. "Time's up." Idris's voice cut through the moment. "Get back here now." I helped her to her feet. She was unsteady but strong. Stronger than she looked. "Can you move?" I asked. She looked at me, then nodded. And together, we walked out of the wreck. The stars beyond felt different somehow. Brighter, whiter, full of possibilities I hadn't seen before. Back aboard our ship, chaos erupted the moment we entered. Malik stared. Idris swore. The crew gathered, equal parts awe and fear. "You brought it here?" Idris demanded. "Her," I corrected. The alien commander stood beside me, silent but observant. Her gaze moved across the room, taking everything in with sharp, calculating awareness. "What is she?" Malik whispered. I looked at her, then back at them. "She's alive," I said. "That's enough." For now it was. Later, as the ship drifted away from the wreck, I found her standing near the viewport, watching the stars. "You okay?" I asked. She turned slightly. "Free," she conveyed. I nodded.
"Yeah."
"That's a good start." There was a pause. "Then, you changed the outcome." I frowned. "What do you mean?" Her gaze shifted back to the stars. "In many paths, I remain. Alone. Silent. Forgotten." A chill ran through me. "But not this one," I said. She looked at me again. "Not this one." And in that moment, I realized something. The signal hadn't just been a call for help. The first night after we pulled her aboard, nobody slept. Not really. Even those off-duty stayed awake longer than usual, pretending to check systems or recalibrate scanners. Anything to justify lingering near the observation deck where she stood, silent and still, watching the stars like she was reacquainting herself with something ancient and personal. I stayed with her. Not because I was assigned to, but because something about the connection we'd shared hadn't faded. It lingered. A quiet thread between us. "You still feeling it?" Malik asked me in a hushed tone as he passed by. I nodded.
Yeah.
Not like before. It's quieter now. Is that good or bad? I glanced toward her. She hadn't moved, but I knew she was aware of everything around her. Depends, I said. I think it means she's not dying anymore. Malik let out a slow breath. That's definitely good. By morning cycle, Captain Idris called a full briefing. She stays for now, he said, arms crossed tightly. But we proceed with caution. We don't know her species, her intentions, or what kind of war she was part of. She wasn't the enemy, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You're sure? I hesitated. I wasn't sure, but I knew what I felt. She was fighting something worse. That didn't reassure him, but it was enough. Over the next few days, communication improved, not through language, but through the strange, shared interface that had formed between us. She didn't need words. And somehow, neither did I. Her name wasn't something I could pronounce. It wasn't sound-based at all. It was more like a pattern, a concept, a presence. But the closest translation my mind could shape was Valrin, commander, leader, last survivor. Through fragments of connection, I began to understand her past. Her people weren't explorers like us. They were guardians, protectors of vast regions of space, ancient routes, fragile systems, civilizations too young to defend themselves. And the war she had been fighting? It wasn't against a species. It was against something far older, far more relentless. They consume, she conveyed one cycle, the sensation heavy with warning.
Who? I asked.
The answer came as a flood of imagery. Stars dimming, planets hollowed out, ships, thousands of them, falling in silent waves against an enemy that didn't think, didn't negotiate, didn't stop. A force that spread like a disease. They're still out there, I said quietly. Always, she replied. That was when everything changed. Malik picked it up first. A signal, different from the one we'd found her with. Stronger, closer. Captain, he called, tension sharp in his voice. You need to see this. We gathered on the bridge as the scan resolved. A cluster of distortions at the edge of our sensors. Not ships. Not debris. Something else. Valrin appeared beside me without a sound. The moment she saw the readings, I felt it.
Fear.
Not panic. Not uncertainty. Recognition. They're here, I whispered. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Idris turned to me. Tell me that's not what I think it is. It's worse, I said. The distortions began to move. Slow at first, then faster. They've locked onto us, Malik said. I don't know how, but they see us. Engines to full, Idris ordered. We're getting out of here. We didn't. The first impact didn't come from outside. It came from within. The ship shuddered as systems flickered violently. Lights dimmed. Gravity stuttered. Something was interfering with us. Not attacking. Invading. They're not using weapons, Malik said, panic rising. They're phasing into our systems. Valrin stepped forward. Her presence sharpened, focused, commanding. This is how they begin. What do we do?
I asked.
She turned to me. We do not run. That wasn't reassuring. They'll tear us apart. Idris snapped. Only if we remain divided. I felt the connection surge again. Stronger than before. No, I said slowly. She's right. Everyone stared at me. They don't attack physically, not at first. They break systems, isolate targets, they win by overwhelming. And your solution is? Idris demanded. I looked at Valrin. Unity. Silence.
Then, explain. Now.
I took a breath. The suit she was trapped in, it wasn't just armor. It was a neural interface. It linked her to her ship, her fleet. And Malik asked, and we recreate it. Idris blinked. With what? We don't have alien tech lying around. We don't need it, I said. We have her. Valrin stepped closer.
And you?
It shouldn't have worked. Everything about it screamed impossible. But as the enemy presence spread deeper into our systems, we didn't have a choice. We gathered in the core chamber. Malik rerouted power. Idris kept the ship stable, barely. And I reached out. Valrin placed her hand against mine. And together, we connected. The ship changed. Not physically, but fundamentally. I could feel it. Every system, every circuit, every pulse of energy flowing through it. And Valrin, she was everywhere, guiding, strengthening, holding it together. There inside, Malik shouted. I know, I said. I could feel them too.
Cold.
Empty.
Hungry.
They pushed against us, probing for weakness, for fractures. But this time, we weren't alone.
Now.
Valrin's voice echoed, not in sound, but in thought. And we pushed back. Light erupted through the ship's systems, not visible, but real. A surge of unified resistance. Where they tried to spread, we held. Where they tried to break, we reinforced. For the first time, they faltered. The distortions outside the ship flickered, collapsed, vanished. Silence returned. The connection broke. I dropped to my knees, gasping. Across the room, Malik slumped over his console. Idris gripped the controls, breathing hard. And Valrin, she stood, unshaken. It's over? Malik asked weakly. I looked at her.
She paused.
Then,
for now.
Days later, we changed course. Not back to human space. Not to safety. Forward. We can't just ignore this, Idris said during the final briefing. If what you showed us is real, then this isn't just her war anymore. It never was, I said. Valrin stood beside me, her gaze steady. Now you understand. We weren't a salvage crew anymore. We were something else. The first of a bridge between species. Between ways of thinking. Between survival. And something greater. As the stars stretched before us, I took my place beside her once more. You waited a long time, I said quietly. She looked at me. And you reached. I smiled. Guess we're not done yet. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, something ancient stirred. But this time, it wouldn't find us alone.